Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Enterprise Confessional. Today's going to be a fun conversation, of course. I want to take a deep dive into how investing in the right communities actually accelerates your growth opportunities and personal accountability, especially leading into Q4, meaning we are literally down to the last part of 2025. Can y'all believe that 2026 is already here? I mean, really. I mean, even though we have about 3 months left, technically 2026 is already here. And man, when I tell you this year has rolled on up out of here, it is really insane. And my hope for each and every one of you who may be listening to this is that you don't throw in the towel yet. 90 days is all it takes for you to form a new habit. 90 days is all that it takes for you to completely change the trajectory of your life. And I want you to remain encouraged. Of course, you guys, I have shared all my business with y'all. When I tell you from personal wins, professional losses, professional wins, personal gains, all the things, y'all know I am the queen of, hey, we got to chuck it up and move forward. We can't dwell and, be upset about things that didn't take place. We still have time to turn this shit back around. And so, going into Q4, I want you to reframe your mindset around what has been and let's focus on what can be if we just put our heads down for the last 90 days of the year. So, stepping directly into the confessional, I just want to get into a couple of pointers for something that I actually have tapped heavily into. I am a firm believer of actually practicing what I preach. So anything that I come on here and talk about is something that I have actually done in real time. And I am actually still doing it in real time or working through it or have already worked through it. So basically, I just want you guys to really, really think about who it is that you're surrounding yourself with. And many of us that may be listening to this, we've been through seasons where we've had to kind of take a look around to the left and right and in front of us and be like, is this really representative of where I'm trying to go? And right now, again, I'm talking about community. It is so important for you to be discerning of the company that you keep. And I feel like we hear this all the time in a personal space, but we don't really talk about the importance of this also in the business space, whether you actually have a business, whether you're freelancing, whatever that looks like for you. The people around you should inspire you. People around you should be doing great things, and whatever great means to you, right? I went through a period in my life where I just wanted to kind of hide from the world. And what happened in that season is that I was being prepared for being launched into these new circles that I am in right now. And what's interesting about that is that I feel like it absolutely prepared me for what it is that I'm experiencing now. Now I have a bit more audacity because I'm being challenged. Being a part of communities that pull that greatness out of you is so imperative, especially depending on what type of goals you have. I knew that one day that I wanted to be on stages and speaking in front of people and hosting workshops. But there were things that I had actually started doing 3 to 4 years ago that helped prepare me for that. One of the major things was forming communities and joining communities that actually pull those pieces out of me that I was actually hiding away from. One of the first communities that I can honestly say really, really helped pull something out of me is a community called Girl Mob. And so for those of y'all who probably remember a time where I was really, really, really talking about community, it was when I joined the Girl Mob. So this one is based in Atlanta, and this is by Miss Skittles. And so shout out to Skittles. She's so dope. Such an amazing just being, just an amazing creative, and she's just awesome. Being a part of her community just really, really showed me on the back end what all it takes to actually build a huge pivotal community. And one of the things that I really, really admired about that chapter was that she actually would tell us on the back end on some of those calls, like, hey, I'm still learning. I still don't know everything. And I think that that is so inspiring to be able to share that with your community, because a lot of times you don't have people talking about the real that goes on behind the scenes of building anything. A lot of people show up on the internet and, the thing that they have been building over the years, over decades, is it already looks like it's perfected, right? And so for someone like a beginner, that could be quite intimidating. I wish more people would realize that the more you understand how powerful coming together in community is, the better off you'll be in general when you're trying to accomplish your goals. Because as I've always said, your family is not your target audience. Your friends are probably not your target audience. And majority of the time, friends or family, they're just not going to be able to support you in the capacity that you need to be supported. And so going through those moments where I had to learn my own lesson around that, I realized those communities really, really picked me up on the days that I didn't want to show up. They come looking for me. And so that is the beauty of community. That's one of the beauties. The second beauty of it is that you actually, majority of the time, have paid support. When you're running a business, things cost. And so it's not free for you to show up. You have to pay for systems, you have to pay for shoots and branding photo shoots, that is. There's so many different things that you have to pay for. And sometimes when you join community, these are people that are willing to put their money where their mouth is and actually support you. So paid support is a win-win. Another gem that's also within community is that sometimes you'll have people in the community already who have built audiences. If they're already in front of people that you could potentially help and they're not offering the same level of expertise, this is a great opportunity for collaboration. And I can say 100% of the time, every collaboration I have ever landed has been because of community. And so this is why I want for more of us, just in general, going into 2026, to prioritize community, especially in today's climate. I think that everybody hit a point in their journey where they believe that they can actually do all these things by themselves. And what happens is many times people get burnt out to the point where they throw the towel all the way in and they just say, screw it, I'm not going to do this anymore. And unfortunately, I feel like you actually deprive the world or people or communities even of your gift when you throw in the towel without trying to form community or join communities that actually could use what it is that you do. Over the years, I've taken time to not only invest into communities for my personal well being, but also for business well being. And as of here recently, I just invested into a new community, which has been nothing but a blessing so far, because majority of the communities that I have not only invested in on a personal basis, but also on a professional realm, they don't have the thing that I offer as my expertise. As you guys know, I specialize in brand development. So that's a little bit different from just, doing logos and, flyers, things like that. A lot of people don't really understand the difference between the two. This is where I'm able to really, really flex my expertise. These are classic lessons that I'm constantly showing up and telling people about, because the same things that I'm doing, anybody else could do. You have to be mindful of the communities that you're also pouring in your expertise into, because you don't want to get into a place where you're not able to draw from what it is that you're investing into. What that means is that if you are one of the only ones that's providing value to this community at that capacity, it may be time for you to take a step back and really assess, hey, am I too far ahead of the game in this community, or is this an opportunity for me to leverage it, get in front of all these people and actually pretty much convert them? Is this also an opportunity for me to gain collaborations? Or is this an opportunity for me to collaborate with the owner of this community? So you just never know. And this is why it's so important for you to have a community building lens on. I've also been able to leverage building community by investing into masterminds, We are in a climate now where people need to really, really understand the importance of actually putting money into what it is that we're trying to do. You guys cannot get everything for free. So certain things that have been shared on this podcast have been actual literal lessons that I have either went through or experienced. And one of the things that I talked about is the cost of free. So when you're going into communities that have little to no value, or sometimes they're free communities with, no skin in the game, this is why the results that you're getting, they're not really serving you the way they actually could. One of the newly invested communities that I'm in now, these people are literally clearing 4 figures in 1 week. And so not only is that inspiring to the masses, but it's also just showing me different ways that people are leveraging these new things that's coming out within the digital space. So there's more opportunity on the table. Hearing testimonies like that can absolutely invoke a level of doubt and fear inside of you. But reiterating, this is why being a part of community is so important, because those fears and those doubts that you may be feeling, you actually would be able to talk about it with someone and they can help you work through that. The moment I realized that being a part of community and also building community was a major turning point was actually when it became a breath of fresh air to actually talk about what it is that I do. And what that means is I basically had found the tribe that I was meant to serve. I found the tribe that I was supposed to be a part of all along, because whether people want to acknowledge it or not, there have been so many times on our journeys where we knew back in our mind that, we're talking to the wrong people, because it shouldn't be this difficult to get my message across. And also, I realized when people were actually implementing what it is that I was talking about and getting results, I knew I had hit the jackpot. Because the problem is, oftentimes we'll stay in communities that don't actually value who we are. They don't value our expertise. And so it doesn't matter how low the thing is priced. It doesn't matter how high it's priced. It doesn't matter if it's free. They just won't do the work, because they're not aligned with who you are. So here are some tips that I want to give you. This is some actionable advice for you to find the right communities going into Q4. The first tip that I want to give you is to identify aligned groups that actually match your business goals. So again, everybody may not be in the business of actually making revenue. I don't know about y'all, but I am. I don't really have time for charity things, things that are not fruit producing. And so I'm trying to join communities that evolve fast, they innovate fast, and they're actually implementing the things. Those are the groups that I'm looking for. So yours may look different. So definitely write some things out with, of respect to your capacity. So where are you on your journey? The second one is be intentional about contribution, not just consumption. So realizing that, you have to invest, okay, whether there's time, energy, or money, and sometimes all three. So for me, I'm in a place where I'm willing to invest money and time and energy. So not only am I consuming the things inside of those communities, but I'm also adding to the community. So I'm actually positioning myself as an asset. The third thing is engaging consistently to build the trust and credibility. So I'm a part of another community where I'm adding value literally 3 to 4 times a week. I've actually already hosted a workshop for this community. And so now I'm positioning myself as the go-to person for this thing in this group. And that is how you start to position yourself as an asset. And I actually haven't been in this particular community for longer than 3 months. So I just want to encourage you to invest wisely into communities as a business strategy, because that's exactly what it is. I don't know anybody who decides to start a business or become a freelancer or start something on the side to basically energy dump with no return. That doesn't make any sense. Your ROI, return on investment, should always make sense. I don't care what it is that you're doing. So if you want to close out Q4 strong, honestly, all you got to do is just look around you. Are you in the circles that actually push you forward or hold you back? Because time is ticking, you guys. Again, 2026 is already here. Yes, we have 90 days to turn something around if you haven't met your goals, but at the same time, be strategic with that because 90 days is not that long. So I want you to reflect on your current communities and consider where to invest your energy, time, or your money, or all three. So the right community doesn't just change your business, it actually changes your mindset, your confidence, and your trajectory. So don't wait to join a community, especially if you're trying to have rapid speed with whatever it is that you're doing. So the next time I'm thinking about sharing with you guys how to actually turn these communities into tangible business wins without feeling salesy. I will see y'all on the next episode. I hope you took a lot away from today. Shoot me a message, write me a DM, or leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts, and I will see y'all in the confessional next time. Bye, y'all.